And I saved the most magnificent creatures in the sea for this final presentation entitled Tales of Whales. So if I may, I would like to now proudly introduce to you the single most powerful muscle in the entire animal kingdom, the peduncle of a humpback whale's tail. For it is this most powerful muscle which powers the flukes that have the capability of propelling a humpback whale completely out of the water and then landing with its 45 tons, 90,000 pounds of mass. Cetaceans, which is a collective term for the order of animals that we casually call porpoises, dolphins, and whales. Cetaceans have a very strong mother-calf bond across all of those species, particularly dolphins and whales. So what we see here is that intimate bond between a mother and her calf. And that mother must teach her calf within seconds of birth how to breathe, within minutes of birth how to swim, within hours how to nourish itself, how to nurse as the mother lactates. And then within weeks, that mother will also teach her calf how to breech, how to use that most powerful peduncle, which in the case of the calf really isn't that powerful. And if you ever have seen a calf humpback attempt to breech like its mother, it actually appears more as a lunge or a belly flop, for indeed that peduncle just hasn't developed yet in the little calf. Well, let's look at each of these. For example, within seconds, how to breathe. He appropriately entitled this masterpiece of his work, First Breath, for it depicts a miraculous moment in life. Just 20 to 30 seconds after this mother gave birth to the little calf that you see on top, she gave birth to this 1.5 ton, 13-foot long calf. And then she urgently swam underneath that calf, came up underneath him, balancing his limp, lifeless, non-breathing body on her rostrum. And then with one flick of that powerful peduncle, she urgently propels that calf to the surface and up into the air, where the calf, like a rocket, takes its first gasp of air instead of amniotic fluid, hence the title, First Breath. Within minutes, that mother will teach her calf how to swim, a very, very important activity necessary for survival, of course. Now, you say, well, it's a creature of the sea. It must know how to swim. Yes, but it's a mammal. It needs to learn, unlike you who breathe autonomically as you sit here. You don't have to think about breathing. Well, just think as to the Summer Olympics. Each breath that a swimmer takes is a cognizant, conscious act. Similarly, a whale, in order to breathe air, must surface, open its blowhole, take the breath, expel the air, generating a spout, then take in another breath, and it's a very conscious act, every single breath that a whale takes. And it must, of course, be coordinated with its swimming. And in fact, once the mother and the calf are ready, once that calf has had enough practice hours in this baby pool, these shallow, shallow waters near the equator is where all baby humpbacks are born. However, there is no food in these warm tropical waters for these baleen whales. That is, the humpbacks have baleen, they do not have teeth. You'd think, my gosh, a 45-ton giant mother whale, she must eat sea lions or dolphins or sharks. Oh, no, no, no. For her nutrition, she eats these tiny krill that you see pictured here. They're about centimeter and a half long miniature shrimp. There are no krill in the waters near Hawaii or the Baja Coast of California or the Dominican Republic, because krill also thrive by the billions in colder waters. So the mother breeds and gives birth in these warm tropical waters, but then must swim 3,500 miles non-stop with her calf to reach the cold waters in order to feed, the other element necessary for survival of the species. There's breeding and there's feeding. But then in those feeding grounds, they are those cold waters replete with these little krill. So the humpback whales just open their capacious jaws and clamp down, taking in tons of krill. That 3,500-mile journey of mother and calf, the mother protecting her calf from potential predation by orcas along the way, takes about 45 to 60 days, and again is conducted in non-stop fashion. Well, that breeds the obvious question, how is the calf possibly going to get enough energy to make that 3,500-mile trek over a month and a half or two's time? Well, you already know that answer. She's going to derive that from her mother's milk. And my heart's already in my throat because I know what's coming up next. And I'll just go ahead and start the video loop. It's only about 20 seconds long, but we're just going to let it loop in the background as I explain to you. And I was so fortunate to be able to capture this footage. Probably the most exciting in the 5 days was that which I'm sharing with you now. A mother humpback lactating, providing nourishment to her calf. Well, this humpback mother has to provide energy, and fat has the most energy per gram, the most number of calories per gram. So her milk is not whole milk at 4%, or like human breast milk is about 10% fat. No, the milk that this mother is producing for her calf is 50% fat. And how much milk does that mom produce for her calf to survive and to have enough energy to swim non-stop and to grow? About 120 to 150 gallons every single day. Humpback calves don't have lips. They can't latch. They can't suckle. So what the little calf does is swims up under its mother, opens its jaw just a little bit, and then nudges against mom's mammary slits. And that intimate contact between the calf and her mother causes a hormonal release in the mother of a hormone from the pituitary gland in the brain called oxytocin. And that oxytocin production then allows for what's known as the letdown reflex, or the ejection of milk out through the mammary slit into the awaiting, slightly opened mouth of the calf. But indeed, this calf will not only be able to swim nonstop, but will be able to gain weight at the rate of 5 pounds an hour. Now that's gaining weight at the rate of 120 pounds a day. Now see, you don't feel so bad on this cruise. After the mother and the calf swam away and you saw that cloud of milk, there were 12 of us that were swimming, had the privilege to be in the water observing this. And so after the mother and the calf swam away, I looked at the other 11 like, come on, let's go. And I swam up toward that cloud of milk. To my surprise, the other 11 had no interest in doing this, but I went right up to that cloud, took out my snorkel, and tasted whale's milk in the middle of the ocean. I felt I should do that. Being on the hospital's lactation committee, I felt it was incumbent to do so. But nonetheless, the other 11 looked at me like I was nuts. But when we got back to the mothership that evening, what do you think the number one question at dinner around the table was? Exactly. What did it taste like? So I'll tell you the truth just as I did them. Honestly, it tasted like salt water because most of what I got into my mouth was salt water. But nonetheless, the next question is, what does the mother do to get her nutrition for a 3,500-mile nonstop trek while providing all those calories for her calf and all the calories required for her to swim? There is no krill. There is no source of nutrition until that mother reaches the cold Alaskan waters. So inasmuch as I have alluded to the mother weighing 45 tons or 90,000 pounds, by the time she gets to Alaska, she will have lost 1/3 of her body weight and will only weigh 60,000 pounds. That's what the whales do when they arrive in Alaska. The mother is absolutely starving. The calf is okay, having been nourished by mother's milk, but now they're going to start learning, the calf is going to learn how to consume krill. And again, they just gulp thousands of gallons of seawater, expel the gulp is the wrong term because it implies they swallow it, but they expand in their throats to accommodate thousands of gallons of seawater. Then they contract this throat muscle right here. And when they contract it, it expels all the water out through the baleen, but contains the krill. Then they swallow very little salt water, but a ton of krill. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for letting me share with you my passion for these gentle giants, these magnificent leviathans of the sea, the humpback whale.